You begin by letting go of the clock. Not turning it off, not hiding it away, but loosening its authority. The numbers still exist, glowing softly somewhere nearby, yet for now they no longer command your attention. Instead, you notice something quieter, a sense of passing, a gentle movement from one moment into the next, like air moving through an open room. Time, when you stop chasing it, reveals a different face. It is no longer sharp or urgent. It becomes rounder, softer, almost breathable. Each second arrives not as a tick, but as a small, steady pulse. You are not counting these pulses. You are feeling them the way you feel your own breath when you lie still in the dark. In this calm noticing, time feels less like a ruler and more like a companion. It does not push you forward. It walks beside you, and as you settle into this slower awareness, you realize something subtle and surprising. Time does not always feel the same. Some moments stretch wide and open, while others fold neatly into themselves and disappear. You have known this since childhood, though you may not have named it. A long afternoon once seemed endless, while a joyful evening vanished in what felt like an instant. Your mind already understands that time is elastic, even before science gives it words. Tonight, you are simply listening to that intuition again. As your body grows heavier and more relaxed, time seems to slow. Not in a dramatic way, not enough to notice with a clock, but enough to feel internally. Thoughts drift farther apart. Sensations lengthen. The space between one breath and the next becomes more generous. You begin to wonder whether this softness belongs only to your mind, or whether time itself is responding. For most of human history, time was imagined as a steady river. It flowed at the same speed everywhere, for everyone, no matter what. This idea felt comforting, predictable, the universe as a great, synchronized machine, each part clicking along in perfect agreement. Seconds were identical bricks, stacked endlessly, never changing shape. But as you rest here, feeling the quiet unevenness of your own experience, that old picture starts to blur. What if time is not a river, but an ocean? What if it moves differently in different depths, responding to currents, weight, and motion? You do not need equations to feel this question. You only need awareness. When your body is tense, time tightens. When you are calm, it loosens. When your heart races, moments fracture. When you are still, they blend together. Already, time is not one thing. It is a relationship. Science begins exactly here in careful listening. Long before atomic clocks or satellites, curiosity starts with noticing patterns that feel slightly off. Tonight, the pattern is simple but profound. Time does not behave as rigidly as we were once told. You imagine time as a vast, invisible fabric surrounding you. Most of the time, you move through it gently without resistance. You barely feel it, but fabrics respond to touch. They stretch when pulled. They sag when weighed down. The idea begins to form quietly without urgency. Perhaps time, too, responds. You are not trying to solve anything. There is no puzzle to complete before sleep. You are only allowing the thought to exist. Somewhere in the universe, time may be flowing a little faster or a little slower than it is here with you now. Somewhere, a second might not be quite the same size. This thought does not feel frightening. It feels intimate. It suggests that time is not an external dictator, but a participant. That it listens, that it adjusts, that it is shaped by circumstances rather than imposed upon them. Your breathing continues, slow and even. With each exhale, the idea settles deeper, becoming less abstract and more felt. Time is happening with you, not to you. It is woven into motion, into stillness, into the quiet presence of mass and matter. You sense faintly that movement might matter, that traveling faster could change how time passes, not just how it feels, but how it actually unfolds. The universe may be keeping track in ways too subtle for ordinary senses, yet perfectly precise. For now, you do not need proof. Proof will come later, carried gently by clocks that can listen more carefully than human perception allows. Tonight is only about preparing the ground, softening certainty, making space for wonder. The room remains still. The darkness holds you. Time continues its slow breathing, in and out, unhurried. And somewhere between one breath and the next, a question opens its eyes. If time can soften and stretch here and rest, what happens when the universe itself begins to move? You drift into an older version of the universe, one imagined long before satellites or atomic clocks, before relativity softened the edges of certainty. This universe feels solid and dependable, like a finely crafted watch resting in the palm of your hand. Every gear clicks precisely. Every movement follows a rule. Time flows forward at a single, unquestioned pace, the same everywhere, forever. In this world, time is absolute. It does not listen. It does not respond. It simply passes. You can feel why this idea lasted so long. It is comforting. It suggests fairness and order. A second here is a second everywhere. The universe becomes predictable, and prediction feels safe. For centuries, this belief works beautifully. Planets move where they should. Bridges stand. Calendars hold together. Nothing seems amiss. As you rest inside this old picture, you sense its calm rigidity. Space is a vast, empty stage. Time is an invisible metronome, ticking steadily in the background. Objects move through space, but time remains untouched by their motion. No matter how fast something travels, the beat of time never changes. Then, quietly, without announcement, something begins to shift. There is no explosion, no shattering of laws. Instead, there is a young mind willing to question what feels obvious. Albert Einstein does not arrive shouting new truths. He arrives wondering. He notices small inconsistencies, gentle misalignments between how light behaves and how time is supposed to behave. You imagine him not as a distant genius, but as a calm observer, listening closely to the universe. Light, he notices, behaves strangely. No matter how fast you chase it, it never slows down. It does not obey the familiar rules of addition and subtraction. This alone is unsettling, like finding a note in a familiar melody that refuses to fit. Rather than forcing light to obey old rules, Einstein does something radical and tender. He lets the rules change. If light speed is constant for everyone, he realizes, then something else must give way. That something is time itself. Not broken, not damaged, but flexible, adjustable, responsive. As this idea settles, the old clockwork universe loosens its grip. Time is no longer a universal drumbeat. It becomes local, personal, shaped by motion. Two observers moving differently will not agree on how much time has passed, and neither will be wrong. You feel the weight of this realization, even as it arrives gently. Certainty does not collapse. It softens. The universe does not become chaotic. It becomes relational. Einstein's insight is not that time is unreliable, but that it is alive to context. Motion matters. Speed matters. The faster you move, the more time stretches. Not in feeling, but in reality. Seconds themselves change length, quietly, faithfully, without drama. You let this sink in slowly. Imagine two clocks, perfectly synchronized, beginning their journey together. One remains still. The other moves swiftly through space. When they reunite, they no longer agree. The moving clock has experienced less time. It has aged more slowly, not because it malfunctioned, but because time itself treated it differently. This is not poetry pretending to be science. It is science revealing its poetry. You notice how calm this idea feels when you stop resisting it. Time is not unfair. It is consistent within its own deeper rules. Treats motion as a conversation, not a violation. Move differently and time responds accordingly. Space, too, is no longer separate. Einstein weaves space and time together into a single fabric, space-time, a unified presence that can stretch, bend, and adjust. You are no longer moving through space while time ticks independently. You are moving through space-time, participating in both at once. This shift is subtle but profound. It changes nothing about how you fall asleep at night, yet it changes everything about how the universe understands itself. The ground beneath certainty becomes softer, more forgiving, more honest. You feel the old mechanical universe fading gently, like a childhood story that no longer quite fits. In its place emerges something quieter and more intimate. a universe that listens, a universe that adapts. Einstein does not take away predictability. He refines it. The rules still exist, but they are deeper than before. They account for motion, for perspective, for the fact that no observer stands outside reality looking in. As you lie still, your own motion feels minimal. Time for you flows gently, steadily. But now you know this flow is not guaranteed everywhere. Somewhere, something moving fast enough is slipping through time at a different rate, not metaphorically, but truly. This knowledge does not disturb your rest. It deepens it. It suggests that reality is more thoughtful than rigid, more responsive than imposed. Time is not an external tyrant. It is a participant in the dance of motion. Einstein's disruption is complete, yet it feels less like destruction and more like rearrangement. The pieces are familiar: space, time, motion, but their relationships have changed. And in that change, the universe grows quieter, subtler, more beautiful. As your breathing slows, you feel certainty loosening its hold. Questions no longer demand answers. They simply exist, softly glowing in the dark. Time and space are no longer separate tracks. They are threads of the same fabric, waiting to be stretched by motion. You close your eyes and imagine moving, not just through space, but alongside light itself. The sun's rays scatter gently around you, and you feel a rhythm in the emptiness. A whisper of time moving differently here. You are no longer at rest. You glide with purpose, your body and mind attuned to every infinitesimal shift. With each step forward, seconds stretch slightly, softening their edges, allowing more to unfold within them. Time becomes malleable beneath your awareness. You notice it in the space between heartbeats, in the gap between inhalation and exhalation. Each moment feels fuller, as if it has room to breathe. This is not imagination in the fanciful sense. It is a quiet truth of the universe. Motion, in the presence of light, begins to alter time itself. You let your thoughts drift, allowing a gentle narrative to rise. The faster you move, the more time seems to slow. There is no force pulling at your body, no tension, no friction. Only a soft tug at the very passage of now. Seconds stretch like soft taffy in your hands. You become aware that your experience of duration is both personal and universal, an intimate interplay of speed and reality. Imagine two travelers. One walks leisurely along a quiet path. The other races toward the horizon with the wind brushing past their face. When they compare their watches later, they notice something subtle but real. The traveler who raced has aged slightly less. Not metaphorically, not in the poetic sense, but physically, in the actual unfolding of moments. Time has yielded to motion. This is the essence of what scientists call time dilation, but you need not grasp equations to feel it. You experience it in your imagination as a gentle stretching, a slow unfurling of seconds. Motion is no longer neutral. It converses with time, shaping it softly and patiently. There is an elegance here, quiet and precise, as if the universe itself takes a deep, measured breath. You allow yourself to imagine this more vividly. Suppose you could step aboard a craft that moves near the speed of light. Outside, the world continues at its usual pace, unaware. Inside, each tick of the clock feels drawn out, each thought lengthened in subtle harmony with your motion. You are suspended in a gentle bubble, where the rhythm of reality shifts without breaking, without alarm. There is no strain. There is no tension. Only the calm unfolding of truth. You notice how this changes the way you perceive stillness. Standing here on your quiet floor, time feels normal, uninterrupted. You might wonder why. The answer is simple. Your own motion is minimal, your frame of reference slow compared with the extremes you are imagining. And yet, even without racing, the principle exists, quietly shaping reality everywhere, in ways too small to notice. The universe holds these differences gently, like water in a river, invisible until measured. Movement, then, is not just a change in position. It is a dialogue with time. Every shift, every velocity, gently instructs the seconds how to pass. And the faster you travel, the heavier those seconds feel, not with burden, but with presence. Each second carries more, absorbs more, stretches just enough to accommodate the journey. You sense this like a soft vibration, not a harsh rule. Imagine a light beam traveling across the cosmos. The speed is constant, unwavering, indifferent to any observer. But for those chasing it, moving alongside it, time's familiar flow bends. Moments dilute and expand, revealing a reality that defies everyday intuition. This is not magic. It is the natural responsiveness of spacetime to motion, precise and serene. You feel a quiet kinship with the beam, noticing how your own mind begins to stretch along with it. Thoughts slow. Awareness deepens. Each detail around you seems slightly more spacious. The room itself is more patient. Even your breathing lengthens in harmony, matching the gentle modulation of temporal rhythm. Science and sensation converge, and you feel the universe unfolding with remarkable softness. You imagine sharing this experience with another observer. Perhaps someone seated at rest watches the cosmos, unaware of your subtle journey. To them, your speed makes no difference. Their time flows as usual. Yet, for you, each second has expanded, a hidden richness invisible from outside. The universe accommodates multiple truths simultaneously, gracefully, without conflict. Each perspective is valid, each heartbeat meaningful, each breath real. This understanding deepens into a meditation. You notice how rarely humans consider motion in this intimate temporal sense. Most of life feels uniform, linear, yet the universe is layered, responsive, nuanced. Your mind tilts gently to accept these subtleties, allowing curiosity to unfold in place of certainty. There is comfort here in realizing that the cosmos does not demand comprehension to exist. It simply is, and it bends for those who move. You sense now that motion's effect on time is universal but quiet. It does not shout. It does not disrupt. It whispers, nudges, stretches in delicate increments. Even on Earth, though far slower than light, these differences exist. They are measured only by instruments of extraordinary precision, yet they abide naturally without fanfare. This is the hidden rhythm of reality, always present, always gentle. And as you explore this gentle stretching, you notice a curious thought. Stillness has its own weight, its own rhythm. Just as rapid motion dilates time, complete rest allows moments to gather quietly. Both extremes are meaningful, each offering a different texture of now. You realize that you can float along any point between these states, and the universe will follow you with subtle fidelity, bending, accommodating, waiting. You rest in this understanding. There is no rush, no need to chase extremes. Time itself becomes a companion in your imagination, responding to the shape of your journey, teaching you about patience, about scale, about presence. Each motion, each pause carries its own lesson. The cosmos, unhurried and precise, reveals its rhythm not as a rule but as an invitation to notice. And so, as your thoughts settle and your body grows heavier in the quiet darkness, a gentle question drifts forward, uninsistent yet persistent. If motion can stretch moments, what else in the universe has the power to bend time, patiently, without disturbance, silently shaping the seconds of existence? You lie back in quiet reflection, imagining the presence of something immense, something invisible yet powerful. A planet, a star, perhaps even a black hole far away, holds you gently in its grasp. You do not feel fear. You feel steadiness, a subtle pull that stretches outward in every direction. Gravity is not loud or demanding. It does not shove or jerk. It simply exists, quietly, everywhere, shaping the flow of your world. As you settle into this awareness, you notice a new way of sensing time. Near this massive body, moments feel thicker, more substantial, as if each second has been infused with weight. There is a richness here, a depth to experience that you might call the gravity of time itself. Seconds do not vanish quickly. They linger, stretching their subtle fingers into your consciousness. And you begin to understand that motion alone is not the only companion of time. Mass too guides its passage. Imagine two clocks, one resting at the base of a tall mountain, the other floating high above on a gentle plateau. They begin synchronized, a perfect match. And yet, when they are reunited, they no longer agree. The lower clock, held close to the massive body, has ticked slightly slower. Its moments, heavy with gravity, accumulated more slowly. The upper clock, freer, has drifted ahead. There is no error. There is only the natural, patient responsiveness of time to presence. You inhale and let this idea settle softly. Gravity does not force time to slow. It invites it. It presses upon the fabric of space-time. A silent guidance, a delicate shaping. Lower, closer, heavier, time thickens. Higher, lighter, more free, time stretches outward. There is elegance here, not harshness. The universe has no need to shout its rules. Its movements are subtle, like a brushstroke on water, visible only if you watch closely and breathe slowly. As you continue, you imagine floating alongside a planet, feeling its pull in every direction. You are weightless and heavy at once, suspended in the invisible waves of gravity. Around you, space-time dips and curves, a vast, malleable sheet folding and stretching in response to mass. Every nearby star, every moon, every cluster of matter leaves its imprint, altering the rhythm of seconds and minutes, just enough that the difference is measurable, but never alarming. You feel your own body now, sensing the tiny differences in motion, in stillness, in presence. Even here on Earth, you are slightly closer to some masses than others. Time ticks a little differently at your feet than at your head, imperceptibly, impermanently, yet undeniably. There is poetry in this subtlety. The universe reveals that even the most ordinary locations are alive with gentle, hidden gradients of experience. Time is not uniform. It bends patiently around what has substance. Imagine descending into a valley. The mass of the mountains presses down, and you sense a quiet slowing. Moments elongate imperceptibly. The air itself feels more deliberate, denser. You climb toward the ridge. The pull lessens. Time feels lighter, more expansive, more able to drift. You realize that gravity is not simply a force on bodies. It is a conversation with time, soft and unhurried, shaping the sequence of now with invisible hands. This bending of time is not dramatic. It does not announce itself with thunder or bright lights. It is measured in fractions of seconds, often too tiny to notice, but in those tiny changes lies an extraordinary truth. Time is relational, not absolute. It responds to presence. It accommodates mass as patiently as it accommodates motion. This idea, when felt slowly and deliberately, carries a sense of quiet or rather than fear. You do not need to understand all its mathematics to feel its poetry. You picture a human journey near this massive object. A traveler moves across valleys and hills, climbing, descending, pausing, breathing. Their own experience of duration subtly shifts. Some moments feel denser, some lighter, yet all moments remain real. All moments retain their place in the unfolding story. You sense the intimacy of this. Time is not external and cold. It is close, alive, attentive to circumstance. You extend this imagination further. Think of a satellite orbiting Earth. Its clock, higher above the surface, ticks slightly faster than those left below. The difference is tiny, almost imperceptible in a single day, but measurable. And though we rarely notice it, our technology depends on this truth. GPS signals, communications, measurements. Everything silently acknowledges that time bows and stretches under the gentle insistence of gravity. The universe is listening and responding in a soft, exacting way. Gravity and motion together form a quiet duet. When you move rapidly near a massive body, both effects intertwine, shaping time with precision. You imagine astronauts circling a planet at incredible speed. Time for them accumulates differently, even as they float in weightlessness. Their experience is a combination of motion's stretch and gravity's pull, an intricate interplay that the universe choreographs flawlessly. No drama, only attentive, deliberate, subtle responsiveness. You allow yourself to feel gratitude for this awareness. It is a gentle meditation, a way to notice that you, too, exist within these flows. Even lying still in your room, you participate in the quiet dynamics of space-time. You are closer to certain masses than others, moving relative to countless bodies. yet your life is synchronized with a rhythm that is patient and exact. There is calm in realizing that the universe accommodates your presence effortlessly. Your mind drifts to thought experiments, each more delicate than the last. A clock dropped into a deep well, a hiker ascending a mountain ridge, a planet spinning gently on its axis. Each scenario reveals the same quiet truth. Time bends in response to gravity, thickening and loosening, stretching and compressing, without judgment, without hurry. There is softness here, a patience that mirrors your own breathing. And as you lie in stillness, you sense how closely this mirrors your inner experience. Moments of tension, when your mind is heavy, seem longer, thicker. Moments of calm, when your attention floats freely, seem lighter, more spacious. The universe is not separate from you. The same principles that govern distant stars and massive planets echo in the subtle rhythms of your own consciousness. Time is responsive, relational, intimate. You imagine tracing the curvature of space-time with your fingers, feeling the dips and waves, the gentle slopes that pull time along invisible paths. Gravity does not hurry. It does not demand. It bends, nudges, and allows. You begin to understand that the universe itself is remarkably patient, that its subtle shifts create the precise conditions for life, for thought, for awareness. Each second is not only counted but cradled. Finally, as the mind quiets, you notice a calm truth settling in your chest. Gravity is not a harsh hand. It is a soft, constant presence, coaxing time into shapes that are both predictable and gentle. The thickening and loosening, the tugging and releasing, are not obstacles or threats. They are the natural music of existence. Time responds to presence just as patiently as you respond to it in your own meditative breathing. You imagine stepping into a quiet laboratory, a room bathed in soft, indirect light. It smells faintly of metal and polished surfaces, of careful attention. The air is still, but within this stillness, a subtle vibration hums beneath your awareness. You follow it with your mind, tracing it gently to its source, the atomic clock. Not a clock that ticks, chimes, or demands attention, but one that listens, responds, and measures time with extraordinary fidelity. You feel its presence as you would the pulse of a living being. It is precise, yes, but not harsh. Its rhythm is steady, loyal, and almost tender. Inside, a single atom oscillates, swings, rocks, vibrates, with a constancy that is breathtaking in its simplicity. Each oscillation marks a fraction of a second with accuracy far beyond ordinary comprehension. This is not mechanical motion as you have known it. It is a beat of nature, harnessed and honored, a heartbeat of the universe captured in metal and light. Imagine yourself watching this atom, suspended and unwavering. It is both tiny and immense. Each swing is a gentle whisper. Time passes. Each tiny vibration is a declaration of constancy. And as you watch, you realize that this simple rhythm becomes the ultimate ruler, a standard by which all other clocks can measure themselves. Here, in this room, the abstract becomes tangible. Time is no longer only a concept. It is a pulse, a soundless hum, a presence you can feel in the space around you. You sit with this awareness for a while, letting the subtle music of the atomic rhythm settle over your mind. There is calm here. There is meditation in precision. You realize that perfection does not feel rigid or sterile. It feels careful, patient, and listening. The clock does not impose itself. It does not rush or halt. It simply exists, marking time in a gentle, unwavering cadence. Now imagine this clock begins to move. Not hurriedly, not violently, but simply to travel through space. Perhaps it is placed on an airplane, or lifted to a satellite orbiting the Earth. First, nothing seems different. The hum continues, the atoms sway in their loyal rhythm, and yet, somewhere in the quiet fabric of space-time, a subtle change begins. Motion, it seems, speaks to time in a way that even perfect listeners cannot ignore. You sense this change as a soft elongation of each oscillation. Seconds are stretched imperceptibly, but measurably. The clock moves, and the universe responds. Time, which seemed absolute in the laboratory, bends, yielding gently to motion. There is no alarm, no collapse of order, only a quiet acknowledgement that motion carries authority. The atomic rhythm is steadfast, but it bends with grace, recording not just the passage of seconds, but the journey itself. Picture scientists comparing this moving clock with one left behind. They place their instruments side by side, waiting, observing, measuring. And when they finally look, they notice the subtle truth. The moving clock has experienced less time. Its seconds, though perfectly obedient to atomic rules, have accumulated differently. There is no contradiction here, only the responsive nature of reality. Time is alive. It listens. It answers. You feel the elegance of this truth settle into your mind. The universe does not need dramatic spectacles to reveal its principles. It whispers. It stretches moments gently, invisibly. The atomic clock becomes both guide and witness, a bridge between human comprehension and the subtle realities of space-time. It hums not to dominate, but to harmonize, providing a reference that allows the universe's quiet adjustments to be understood. You lean closer, imagining the atoms oscillating in perfect rhythm, back and forth, like dancers in a carefully choreographed performance. They are aware, in their own way, of the gentle tug of motion. They adjust, not with hesitation, but with fidelity, honoring the subtle cues from the cosmos. You sense how tender this is. Precision, when attuned to reality, becomes an act of patience, of listening, of gentle attention. The room fades from your imagination, but the feeling remains. Time is not rigid. It is a conversation. The atomic clock, faithful and small, is the listener that records this dialogue. And through it, you understand something profound. Even the most minuscule objects, governed by clear rules, participate in the flowing, stretching, bending nature of space-time. Imagine now a network of these clocks, stationed across cities, across continents, even in orbit above the Earth. Each one beats steadily, independently, yet collectively they create a symphony of temporal awareness. Some tick faster, some slower, depending on their motion, their altitude, the pull of gravity around them. And yet, together, they reveal a coherent story, a universe that is attentive, responsive, precise, yet infinitely gentle. You let yourself feel the intimacy of this knowledge. The universe is not distant or cold. It is patient, listening, adjusting. Every oscillation of an atom, every tick of a clock, every passing second is a testament to the subtle, attentive harmony of existence. You realize that time is not merely counted. It is honored. It is witnessed, measured, respected. And in this recognition, you feel a calm satisfaction, a quiet sense of belonging within the vast and precise flow of reality. Even as you lie still, you are part of this gentle rhythm. Your own heartbeat, your breathing, your awareness all participate in the temporal flow that the atomic clock so carefully records. You are not separate from the universe. You are a point within its expansive, patient dialogue, moving and resting, responding and observing, as every atom, every clock, every second responds to the imperceptible dance of motion and gravity. And as the thought arises that these clocks might one day be moved even faster, even further, you feel a soft anticipation. How will time, so patiently measured, respond when velocity and mass intertwine in ways both familiar and extraordinary? How will the seconds bend, stretch, and whisper their truth to those who dare to measure them in motion? The question hums gently in your mind, inviting curiosity without urgency, a tender echo of the universe's quiet responsiveness. You imagine yourself stepping onto a smooth, silent airplane, one that seems less like a machine and more like a vessel floating in a vast, calm sky. You are not rushing anywhere. You are not chasing a destination. You are here to observe, to feel, to listen. Inside, the cabin is quiet, the soft hum of engines blending with your steady breathing. And somewhere on board, tiny, precise clocks, atomic clocks, tick faithfully, recording each passing second with perfect attention. As the plane lifts gently from the ground, you notice the world changing beneath you. Trees, houses, rivers, and roads shrink into patterns and shapes, flowing outward like a slowly unfolding painting. You are no longer in one place. You are moving relative to the Earth itself, gliding over its curves and valleys. And with this motion, a subtle, almost imperceptible transformation begins. Time, which felt steady and unchanging down below, starts to behave differently aboard your flying vessel. At first, it is too small to notice. 1 second is still 1 second in your own perception. Your heartbeat does not shift. Your breath remains steady. Yet the universe responds quietly. Motion has a language, a soft dialogue with time. Even at the speed of a conventional airplane, every passing second stretches imperceptibly, accumulating differently than the seconds measured on the ground. You imagine scientists watching this experiment decades ago. They took atomic clocks, the perfect listeners, and carried them aboard jets, tracing the gentle arcs of flight across the globe. When these airborne clocks returned, their hands were slightly behind the clocks that stayed behind on Earth. Not broken, not malfunctioning, simply honest. The clocks had been traveling through space-time, and time had responded to their journey. You feel the subtle elegance of this idea. It is not dramatic. There is no alarm, no chaos. Time does not scream or bend violently. It whispers. It nudges. It stretches gently, a soft proof that the universe has its own rules, precise and patient, invisible to ordinary perception but undeniable to careful observation. Each nanosecond is a letter in a quiet story, written in the language of motion and measured faithfully by attentive clocks. Imagine floating above Earth, looking down at the curvature of the planet. The horizon stretches endlessly, the sky deepens, and the soft blue of atmosphere frames the dance of motion beneath you. Your clocks tick, unwavering, yet subtly altered. You feel the rhythm, the cadence of moments shifting with altitude and speed. Every second aboard this plane is both the same and slightly different. A paradox, gentle and true, like a whisper between breaths. Time on the ground continues its steady march, unaware of the slight elongation above. The clocks aboard the airplane have experienced less time. A person aboard this vessel, moving rapidly relative to Earth, ages ever so slightly less than those left behind. You do not need to understand all the mathematics to feel this truth. It is a sensation, a subtle rhythm, a layering of now that is both personal and universal. You imagine following the path of the plane across continents, tracing its arc in the sky as atomic clocks tick in perfect silence. Each turn, each climb, each descent changes the experience of time just enough to be recorded, just enough to be observed. The universe, patient and attentive, adjusts its flow in response to motion. There is no favoritism, no judgment. It simply responds. You feel a profound calm realizing that this subtle difference is not dangerous, not chaotic. It is harmonious. The universe is precise. Its laws are reliable. They allow for motion and stillness to coexist without conflict. Time stretches here, contracts there, yet the whole system remains elegant, dependable, and serene. Even the smallest discrepancy between clocks is a quiet testament to the universe's attentiveness. The experiment, when repeated, confirms the delicate truth again and again. Atomic clocks flown east, flown west, circling the globe in opposite directions. Each records a tiny shift in accumulated time. Yet no clock complains. They are perfect listeners, faithfully chronicling the subtleties of motion. You imagine holding one of these clocks in your hand, feeling its hum, its unwavering attention. It is not alive in the biological sense, yet it participates in the dialogue of reality. You realize that these airborne clocks also remind us of our own movement and of how intimately time is tied to place and motion. Your life, though far slower than an airplane, still participates in this cosmic choreography. Each step you take, each journey you make, each breath you draw subtly shifts the local experience of time. You feel connected to the same attentive universe that bends and stretches its seconds for these traveling clocks. Picture the return flight. The plane descends slowly, gently reconnecting with the familiar pull of the Earth. The clocks are compared once more with those that remained below. The difference is tiny, yet undeniable. Nothing has failed. Nothing has been lost. Time has simply spoken honestly. You sense a deep reassurance in this. The universe is consistent, even in its subtle adjustments. It is trustworthy, delicate, and exact. You notice, too, the poetry of perspective. From the ground, time seems continuous, predictable. From the plane, it stretches slightly, revealing its malleability. Neither view is wrong. Both are true. You feel the comfort of this duality, the sense that reality accommodates multiple truths gracefully, without stress or alarm. Time is both universal and local, objective and relational, patient and precise. You let your imagination drift, considering other applications. Satellites higher above experience even larger effects. Astronauts circling Earth witness time differently still. And yet, all of this complexity operates quietly, unnoticed in daily life, measured only by instruments attentive enough to record it. The universe continues its patient work, a subtle ballet of motion and time, without hurry, without fanfare, without exception. You rest in this thought, letting the soft knowledge of time's responsiveness sink into your consciousness. The rhythm of motion, the bending of seconds, the attentive hum of atomic clocks, all of it creates a gentle reassurance. The universe is not arbitrary. Its subtle adjustments are part of a larger harmony, a design that is both precise and meditative. You feel this rhythm as deeply as your own heartbeat, matching its quiet cadence. And as the plane comes to a smooth halt on the runway, you imagine disembarking slowly, stepping back into ordinary time. Yet the proof remains. The clocks record it. Motion and time have conversed, leaving behind a delicate trace of reality's responsiveness. Each nanosecond is a tiny, silent signature of the universe's care, a whisper of precision and trust, written across the arc of flight. You tilt your head back and imagine the sky, vast and still above you. High above, satellites circle the Earth, moving silently, gracefully, like dancers tracing invisible paths. You cannot hear them, nor can you see their precise journeys without special instruments. Yet you know they exist. They glide through both space and time, and their presence is quietly essential to your daily life. Each satellite carries a clock, an atomic clock, a listener of extraordinary fidelity. These clocks measure time with such precision that the smallest fraction of a second matters. And in orbit, their experience of time differs from yours on the surface. Gravity is weaker up there. Speed is greater. Both subtly alter how seconds pass. For these satellites, time slips slightly ahead, accumulating a little faster than it does on the ground. You picture one of these satellites tracing a slow circle above the Earth. As it travels, it experiences less gravitational pull than a stationary clock on the surface. Seconds, freed from some of the weight of gravity, stretch outward. Motion adds another influence, causing time to contract slightly for the satellite relative to the Earth below. The two effects combine, creating a delicately shifted experience of now. It is extraordinary to consider, yet utterly natural. Each orbiting clock is telling the truth of its own experience. It is not in error. It is not failing. Time is responding faithfully to its environment. The universe has no need for human intuition. It simply operates according to its own quiet, precise rules, bending and stretching without drama, patiently, elegantly. You imagine the engineers and scientists who monitor these satellites. They must account for these tiny shifts. GPS systems, communications, weather prediction, navigation, all rely on the precision of satellite clocks. If these differences were ignored, your maps would slowly drift, your signals would arrive off target, your sense of place would falter. Invisible corrections, based on the principles of relativity, keep everything in alignment. Even as you think about this, you feel a deep, meditative calm. The universe is responsive, yes, but it is also reliable. Time bends where it must, stretches and contracts according to speed and gravity. Yet all is predictable, measurable, and harmonious. The satellites orbit without complaint, their tiny discrepancies understood, their truths accounted for. You begin to notice the poetry in this. From your perspective on Earth, time flows evenly. Your clock ticks, your heart beats, and your day unfolds predictably. But far above, time is subtly different. Yet neither perspective is wrong. The universe accommodates both simultaneously, seamlessly. There is an elegance here, a quiet humility in the cosmic design. It trusts that reality is precise and that its listeners, scientists, clocks, and even human imagination, will notice and respond. You watch one satellite crossing the sky in your mind's eye, circling silently, tracing perfect arcs. Its onboard atomic clock hums faithfully, marking each fraction of a second. Those fractions are slightly different from the seconds you experience on the ground. You imagine scientists comparing them, adjusting for the subtle shifts. They compensate for the combination of motion and gravity, ensuring that GPS signals reach your phone or car accurately, that airplanes can navigate safely, that messages arrive precisely when they should. Even mundane moments in your life, you realize, depend on these relativistic adjustments. Every phone call, every map, every timestamp leans gently on the principles you have been exploring. Time, responsive to motion and gravity, flows differently above than below. Yet the universe keeps it all in harmonious alignment, invisible but indispensable. The ordinary world depends on extraordinary truths happening silently overhead. You imagine yourself inside the satellite for a moment, floating in weightless orbit, moving faster than anything you usually experience. Time feels different here, subtly altered by speed and altitude. It is not perceptible to your senses, but measurable by the careful hum of the atomic clock. The satellite does not notice impatience, frustration, or fatigue. It only marks reality as it unfolds. And in doing so, it reveals a universe that is not abstract or theoretical, but living, responsive, attentive. You feel a sense of wonder at the scale of this truth. Above your head, countless satellites, each with its own clock, experience their own slices of time differently. Each orbit is a quiet experiment, repeated thousands of times, validated across continents and decades. They drift imperceptibly from your sense of now, yet their influence touches every moment of your life. The world, as you know it, relies on these small, patient deviations. Consider for a moment how delicate these measurements are. Even a tiny miscalculation, a billionth of a second, could cascade through the systems you depend on. But the universe, patient and precise, allows scientists to detect these tiny variations and correct them. The interplay of motion, gravity, and precise timekeeping becomes a hidden choreography, a cosmic dance that sustains the rhythm of daily life. You begin to feel the intimacy of this connection. You, grounded on Earth, are subtly linked to each satellite above. Your existence depends on the careful attention of instruments moving through slightly different time. Time, once abstract and distant, is now tangible. It flows differently depending on where you are and how fast you move, yet all of it is harmonious. The universe listens, adjusts, and gently ensures alignment. You imagine watching the sky over a day, following satellites on their silent paths. You cannot see them with your eyes alone, but their effect is everywhere. Your morning alarm, your map directions, your phone's notifications, all of these rely on the fact that moving clocks experience time differently. The universe has made these adjustments subtle enough to be unnoticed, yet essential. It is a reminder that reality is both delicate and dependable, responsive yet unwavering. As your mind floats among these thoughts, you sense the broader significance. Relativity is not just a theoretical construct. It is practical, embedded into the fabric of daily life. Without it, navigation, communication, and timing would falter. Without it, your world would slowly drift out of alignment. Every satellite orbit, every atomic oscillation, every measurement above your head silently participates in maintaining the order and precision of life below. And in this realization, a calm understanding settles over you. The universe is attentive. Time is not uniform, yet it is trustworthy. It bends around gravity, responds to motion, and yet ensures that the everyday flow of life remains steady. The invisible choreography above you is proof that precision and patience are woven into the cosmos itself. You notice the gentle hum of your own heartbeat echoing the rhythm of these distant clocks. You sense your own motion through the subtle gravity of the earth. You feel the continuity of moments, the smooth passage of now, and the quiet truth that every second is observed, accounted for, and harmonized. The sky is not empty. It is alive with the soft proof of time's responsiveness, floating imperceptibly above, cradling the very moments you experience. And as you rest here in stillness, you feel the delicate bridge connecting the ground to the orbiting clocks above. You sit quietly, imagining a room filled with clocks of every kind. Some on the walls, some in boxes, some carried gently in the hands of careful observers. Each clock hums its own rhythm, its own perception of now. Some tick faster, some slower, some seem nearly in sync. They are not rebellious or faulty. They simply reflect the truth of their own place, their own motion, their own interaction with gravity. Time is not uniform. It resists being forced into a single global cadence. You feel the paradox settling around you, soft and curious. How can we understand a universe that refuses to agree? The very concept of synchrony, once taken for granted, becomes subtle, delicate, almost poetic. Each clock tells a story of its local environment, its velocity, its proximity to mass. Yet for the world to function, for maps, for navigation, for communication, some agreement must exist. Scientists, with patience and care, attempt this quiet miracle. Reconciliation without force. Imagine them comparing two atomic clocks, one on a mountain, the other at sea level. They sit together, hands hovering over dials, careful not to disturb the instruments. Measurements are taken, differences noted. Adjustments are calculated, minute corrections applied. And through this slow, deliberate process, the clocks are brought into harmony. Not by making time uniform everywhere, but by understanding and respecting the subtleties that separate them. You sense the elegance of this work. The universe is not broken. It is patient. It whispers its local truths softly, waiting for humans to notice, to account, to cooperate. Scientists are not imposing authority over time. They are listening, recording, and adjusting in conversation with reality itself. There is humility here, a recognition that the cosmos cannot be coerced, only attended to with care. You imagine a network of such clocks spread across the globe. In each city, each laboratory, each satellite orbiting silently above, atomic timekeepers mark the passage of seconds slightly differently, responding to altitude, motion, and gravity. And yet, collectively, they form a coherent whole. Differences are small, adjustments gentle, but the result is extraordinary. A global tapestry of time, harmonized not by force, but by attentive understanding. You feel yourself drifting among these clocks, sensing the subtle rhythms that govern them. Each tick, each oscillation, carries with it the story of local circumstances. Time resists uniformity because it is relational, responsive, aware in its own quiet way. It bends around gravity, stretches with motion, whispers with light. And humans, with ingenuity and patience, learn to synchronize not by flattening these variations, but by translating them into a common framework. Imagine now the work required to keep GPS satellites aligned with clocks on Earth. The adjustments are tiny, measured in nanoseconds, yet they are vital. Without them, positions would drift, signals would misalign, the everyday functions of society would falter. It is a delicate conversation, ongoing, precise, invisible to most, and yet it reflects the same principle you feel in the back of your mind. The universe listens, and cooperation is possible even when perspectives differ. You notice how comforting this is. The universe is not chaotic. It does not demand obedience. It prefers diversity, multiple local truths, and yet allows harmony to emerge through gentle, attentive action. Time is conversational, responsive, relational. It does not insist on being identical everywhere. It allows adjustment, dialogue, collaboration. You feel a deep calm realizing that even the cosmos itself operates more like a conversation than a decree. You watch the scientists at work in your mind's eye. They measure, compare, calculate, adjust, always with respect for the subtleties of motion and gravity. Each correction is gentle, a soft bridge between differing local experiences of time. There is no force, no coercion, only understanding, only attention, only the willingness to listen and respond patiently to what time itself reveals. And as you consider the beauty of this, you realize that you, too, participate in a kind of temporal harmony. Your own experience of seconds, minutes, ours, is informed by clocks synchronized to these careful measurements. Your life, though ordinary and slow, rests upon the patient work of reconciling local truths into a coherent, navigable reality. The everyday world, which seems steady and predictable, leans on a delicate web of agreement, forged in quiet diligence. Imagine the subtle poetry of it. A satellite orbiting high above, experiencing time differently from clocks on the surface, yet its readings carefully adjusted to align with earthbound systems. A network of clocks spanning continents and oceans, each one slightly different, yet together forming a symphony of temporal coherence. Every correction is a soft acknowledgement that the universe does not force uniformity. It offers guidance, and humans listen. You feel a sense of wonder at the patience of reality. Time is not dictatorial. It is relational. It accommodates, it responds, it communicates. The discrepancies between clocks are not mistakes. They are whispers of the universe's attentiveness, reminders that even in precision, variation is natural. And in these whispers, humans learn not only about time, but about patience, attentiveness, and the quiet art of cooperation. As your mind floats among these ideas, you notice the elegance of small differences. A few nanoseconds here, a tiny drift there, yet the adjustments yield a harmony that sustains life itself. Without these attentions, your navigation, your communication, even your sense of place would falter. The universe is generous, precise, subtle, and infinitely patient. And you are part of it, a participant in the ongoing, gentle negotiation that allows all these local truths to coexist. And you feel the calm realization settle into your awareness. Synchronization is not domination. It is not control. It is attentive listening, a delicate respect for multiple truths converging into a coherent whole. It is an example of how the universe, while refusing to obey uniformity blindly, still allows harmony to emerge through careful observation, understanding, and adjustment. Time, you notice, is not an object to be conquered. It is a participant, a subtle partner in every experiment, every orbit, every measurement. The clocks, satellites, and human minds together form a dialogue that stretches across the globe and beyond. Each moment is negotiated, each second accounted for, each adjustment a testament to patience and attentiveness. You sense the gentle balance between freedom and coordination, between local truth and global agreement. And as the soft hum of distant satellites and atomic clocks drifts through your imagination, you begin to feel the universe as a kind of patient conversation. It listens, it responds, it shifts, and yet allows coherence to emerge. Harmony is not forced, it is cultivated. Even when time resists, the diligent attention of observers and instruments gently guides it, creating a world that is both precise and gentle, responsive and reliable. You sit in stillness and notice the steady rhythm of your own body, heartbeat, breath, the gentle flow of thought. Time seems uniform here, familiar, undisturbed. Each second follows the last in quiet succession. You may recall the stories of moving clocks, satellites, planes, and the subtle bends of gravity. And yet, for you, the passage of time feels unbroken, intimate, and ordinary. Why does time dilation, the stretching and contracting of moments, feel invisible within your own frame? You close your eyes and consider your body as a small vessel moving through the vast expanse of spacetime. Your cells, your heartbeat, your thoughts are synchronized. They do not experience internal discrepancies. You are a self-contained frame of reference, moving in harmony with yourself. Here, the effects of motion and gravity that alter distant clocks do not disturb your internal rhythm. You remain coherent, consistent, aligned. This is the subtle secret of relativity. Time always feels steady from within your own frame of reference. You are your own observer. You feel no hesitation, no lag, no stretching of seconds. Your internal experience is smooth, seamless, continuous. Only when your path diverges, when another observer, moving differently or residing at a different altitude, is compared against you, do the differences emerge. Time, in your stillness, is invisible to you precisely because you are traveling with it. Imagine two friends, one resting at home, the other climbing a mountain. Both measure their own seconds, their own heartbeats, their own moments. Each feels normal, continuous. Neither notices any strangeness from their own perspective. But if they reunite, comparing clocks or experiences, subtle differences appear. The climber's moments, slightly shifted by reduced gravitational pull, reveal that time is not absolute. Yet inside, time never felt abnormal. This is the quiet paradox. Relativity is only apparent when comparing experiences across different frames. You sense a deep calm in this realization. Time's invisibility is not neglect or illusion. It is intimacy. Your own seconds unfold in trust. There is no need for awareness of dilation when motion is minimal, when gravity is familiar, when you are at rest relative to yourself. Time gently carries you along, attentive, precise, yet unobtrusive. It is only when the outside universe is measured against your personal frame that its variability whispers its subtle truth. Your mind drifts inward, exploring the sensation of internal coherence. Each pulse of your heart matches the steady beat of seconds. Each inhalation flows with an unspoken rhythm. Your thoughts trace gentle patterns through space and time, unperturbed by distant satellites, fast-moving planes, or atomic oscillations far above the Earth. You are a universe unto yourself, coherent, steady, aligned, and yet connected to the larger cosmos. This gives rise to a comforting understanding. Though time stretches and bends in other places, your experience is dependable. Your body, mind, and consciousness form a local measure of continuity. You are insulated from external discrepancies, yet not separate from them. Time behaves differently elsewhere, but your own seconds are complete, full, and shared with the world around you in subtle harmony. Consider your daily life. You step, speak, think, and breathe. Satellites move overhead, airplanes carry clocks through slight dilation. Gravity bends seconds ever so slightly. And yet, within your own frame, you remain unshaken. No internal alarm goes off. No hesitation disturbs the rhythm of your day. The universe may bend, twist, and stretch time elsewhere, but for you, all flows steadily, reassuringly, invisibly. You begin to notice the gentle beauty of this duality. Time is both malleable and steadfast, flexible and dependable. Its stretching and contracting are subtle, measurable only when compared across different frames, yet entirely harmonious within each frame. You experience the local truth, a reality that feels continuous, whole, uninterrupted. This is not contradiction, it is relational beauty, an intimacy of being within space-time. Imagine tracing your awareness through the course of a day. Morning arrives, the light shifts, thoughts rise and fall. Time seems normal, steady, unfolding evenly. Yet, out there, beyond your personal frame, seconds stretch and compress around moving bodies, in orbiting satellites on fast planes. You do not perceive it directly, yet you are part of this gentle cosmic dialogue. Your presence, your stillness, your awareness anchor you in a consistent flow while the universe dances subtly around you. You sense now that time's invisibility is a gift. It allows you to exist in peace, to live, to notice, without constant disruption from the hidden variability of motion and gravity. You are aware only when comparison is necessary. Until then, your seconds are entirely your own. They flow gently, carefully, attentively, accompanied by the quiet hum of reality itself. You let this understanding sink in. Time is trustworthy. Your experience is real, complete, and unbroken. Distant bending of moments, invisible unless compared, does not threaten your coherence. You are safe within your own frame, and yet you are not separate. The universe's adjustments are gentle reminders of a larger order, a cosmic choreography that supports all observers simultaneously. Imagine floating in your mind's eye, weightless and serene, moving slowly through space-time. Your perception aligns with your body's rhythm. Each breath, each heartbeat, each thought moves with a subtle, measured cadence. And somewhere, far away, moving clocks continue their own dance, bending in response to motion and gravity. Yet your frame remains consistent. You feel harmony, calm, and inclusion within the flowing web of time. You begin to sense a quiet meditation forming. Stillness itself becomes a measure of truth. Motion is relative. Gravity's pull is subtle. And yet, in the midst of all variation, your internal clock, your own lived experience, remains perfectly synchronous. This is the invisible beauty of relativity. Time is not constant everywhere, yet it is entirely dependable where you are. And as you rest in this meditation, you realize that time only becomes noticeable when differences emerge between observers. Otherwise, it flows silently, a private companion for your mind and body, unhurried, continuous, patient. Your own experience is both ordinary and extraordinary. Ordinary because it feels seamless, extraordinary because it exists in a universe that is flexible, responsive, alive with motion and gravity. A sense of comfort settles into your chest. Even as satellites, airplanes, and clocks experience tiny shifts in distant space-time, your moments remain whole. You are immersed in reality's gentle rhythm, carried along with the universe's attentive patience. Time is not hidden. It is intimate. You are surrounded by it, supported by it, and harmonized within it. You sit in quiet reflection, letting the stories of moving and still clocks settle softly in your mind. The airplanes, satellites, atomic instruments, and mountainside experiments you've imagined form a tapestry of moments, woven with threads of motion, gravity, and attentive observation. Each clock, in its own way, has spoken to you, not in chimes or alarms, but in subtle, precise, and patient messages about the nature of reality itself. You begin to notice something remarkable. These clocks are storytellers. They do not command. They do not impose a single, rigid narrative of time. Instead, they reveal the world as it is, responsive, relational, and attentive. Each tick, each oscillation, each measured fraction of a second is a witness, quietly reporting how the universe bends and stretches around matter and motion. Their stories are neither abstract nor intimidating. They are invitations to notice, to feel, and to understand. Imagine holding an atomic clock in your hand. Its atoms sway with unwavering rhythm, swaying back and forth like dancers in a perfectly choreographed ballet. The clock itself does not alter reality. It only reflects it. And as you hold it, you realize that every measurement it makes, every fraction of a second it counts, is a gentle affirmation of a universe that is both precise and alive. Consider the satellites above, gliding silently in orbit. Their clocks tick slightly faster than those on Earth. The difference is small, almost imperceptible in everyday life, yet essential for navigation, communication, and understanding. Time is not identical everywhere, but the patterns are consistent. The universe, through these instruments, is offering a map of its own attentiveness. You feel gratitude for this revelation. Reality is not rigid. It listens, responds, and adapts, like a quiet partner in a dance rather than a harsh overseer. You imagine the various clocks coming together, comparing their readings, revealing the subtle influences of motion, gravity, and altitude. Some tick ahead, some lag behind. Each one tells the truth of its own circumstances. And in their differences, you perceive a deeper lesson. The universe does not insist on uniformity. It allows local realities to exist while offering a framework for coherence. Time is relational, not absolute. It is flexible, not arbitrary, attentive, not rigid. You let your mind wander to the philosophical whisper beneath these truths. If clocks respond to motion and mass, if seconds can stretch or compress, what does that say about your own experience? Your present, your now, is not separate from these forces. You, too, exist in a responsive continuum. Each moment you live is shaped by your motion, your place, your interactions. And yet, even within these subtle shifts, there is consistency, a steady undercurrent of reliability that allows life to flow without confusion. Imagine a clock on a plane, soaring over oceans, tracing arcs over continents. It accumulates slightly less time than the stationary clocks it left behind. And still, when compared and corrected, the world continues to function without disruption. The lesson is clear. Reality accommodates differences, balances local truths, and emerges harmoniously, even when perspectives diverge. Precision does not demand uniformity. It only requires attentive listening and thoughtful adjustment. You begin to notice how personal this becomes. Your own experience of seconds is both unique and aligned. You live within a local frame, your body and mind moving together in rhythm. And yet, the universe surrounding you stretches and compresses in response to mass, motion, and position. You are not separate from it. You are not merely a passive observer. You are part of the intricate choreography of spacetime, carried along, attended to, and included in the cosmic narrative. Consider the scientists again, comparing clocks across great distances, applying corrections for motion and gravity, ensuring satellites remain synchronized with earthbound instruments. They are participating in a quiet dialogue with reality. They listen carefully, adjust gently, and allow the universe to reveal its relational truths. The beauty is that nothing is forced. There is no coercion. There is only attention, patience, and careful understanding. You feel a sense of calm in recognizing this approach mirrored in life itself. The universe does not demand abrupt conformity. It accommodates differences naturally, allowing multiple truths to coexist while maintaining an underlying harmony. Time bends, stretches, and contracts in response to circumstances, yet remains dependable, predictable, and reliable. There is an elegance in this duality. Flexibility and consistency, diversity and coherence, freedom and precision. Your awareness drifts upward to the heavens. Satellites glide silently overhead, their tiny clocks recording subtle shifts. These instruments, orbiting far from your daily awareness, sustain systems you rely on without a whisper of notice. Maps, phones, communications, all are quietly maintained by time's responsiveness. You feel a gentle awe at the interconnection of it all. The cosmos, precise and patient, supports life through subtle attentiveness, revealing a world that is both measurable and kind. And yet, the clocks do more than measure. They teach. They reveal the intimate nature of reality, the flexibility of seconds, the relational quality of time. They whisper that nothing exists in isolation. Every measurement is a story, every tick a note in the symphony of spacetime. You begin to feel the rhythm of this symphony within yourself, the heartbeat, the breath, the flow of thought, all part of the same attentive universe. Imagine now returning to Earth, your feet resting gently on the familiar ground. The air flows around you, gravity presses softly upon your body, and the seconds pass reliably in your experience. The clocks in orbit, the moving planes, the atomic oscillations, they all continue their own rhythms, their own stories, measured and attended to. And yet, your reality remains coherent. You are nested within this vast, responsive system, aligned with it, supported by it, and intimately included in its ongoing conversation. You sense the final, gentle lesson of these clocks. Reality is not dictated by rigid rulers, but by attentive witnesses. The universe is not authoritarian, but relational. Time does not impose itself blindly. It responds patiently, faithfully, elegantly, bending around mass, stretching with motion, and flowing gently through the cosmos. And through careful observation and adjustment, coherence emerges. Harmony is possible, even in a universe of variation. This realization brings a soft, reflective pause. You understand that certainty is not a matter of strict uniformity. Understanding, patience, and careful attention allow order to emerge from diversity. You feel connected, small yet significant, included in the responsive rhythm of reality. Time is not a ruler to enforce obedience. It is a guide, a companion, a storyteller revealing the subtle, elegant truths of the universe. As you imagine the clocks, both moving and still, harmonizing across distances and circumstances, you begin to feel the profound intimacy of the universe. Reality breathes. It is flexible yet dependable. It is relational yet coherent. You are part of its gentle attentiveness, your own moments aligned with the responsive pulse of spacetime. You feel awe, gratitude, and a soft serenity,